Hello, and welcome to my podcast show, Nancy Be Inspired. I am your host, Nancy DeLeonardi, and I am so happy that you are here today. And I have a great podcast for you today. I am going to talk about aging backwards and the secrets to living a youthful life. Yes, I get asked this question often. What do I do? How do you reverse aging? And I want to demystify what it means to actually age backwards. And I want to let you in on the secrets of living that youthful lifestyle. So, are you ready? Let's go. Welcome to Aging Backwards, Secrets to Youthful Living. I'm super excited to talk to you about this topic today because it's near and dear to my heart. And I want to help you understand what it means to live a youthful life. I want to demystify what it means to age backwards. And we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about the science behind it. I'm going to give you some tips and strategies for living your best life and a vibrant life at any age. You know, I'm here to help you, and I'm thrilled for you to join me on this journey as we discover, the secrets of aging backwards. I'm going to share my own personal stories with you. And if this podcast helps you, I really look forward to hearing from you and your stories and how maybe this podcast inspired you to take a step and start reversing your aging process too, right? Because we want you to live a youthful life all of your life. Age is just a number. And, we're just here every day that we wake up. We're here to start anew, and we need to have that mindset. So today we're diving into what it truly means to age backwards. And now you might be thinking, is that even possible? Is it possible to age backwards? Well, Let's explore that, right? Let's explore this fascinating concept together, because aging backwards isn't about reversing time or defying nature. It's about making a lifestyle, right? A lifestyle for yourself and choices that help us feel and look younger, more healthy, and we're energetic, right? You have that energetic energy. And it's about embracing practices that support your physical, mental, and emotional well-being. And that allows us to thrive at any stage. And I always say that fitness is mind, body, soul. I have another podcast about that. And I believe that that is true. And I'm going to share with you, my own personal journey and my life I have on all the podcasts that I've produced for you. But I'm going to remind you here today and how that ties in to aging backwards and the secrets to youthful living. Okay, so first we want to talk about the science behind aging, right? Our bodies naturally undergo these changes as we begin to age. It's just, the clock, your body just is aging. It's just going through its physical cycle, if you will. And in that process, the metabolism slows down. Your skin, you can lose elasticity in it. Your muscle mass may decrease, but the exciting part is that with scientific research, it shows that we can significantly influence these processes through our daily habits. So what I mean by that is the science is there to show us that even though our bodies are changing and the metabolism isn't in your 50s as it was in your 20s, and even though your skin isn't taut like it was in your 20s and now you have some wrinkles or it's sagging, it doesn't mean that you have to accept it, that it's going to stay that way permanently. Now, this process and this physical process might slow down for some people if they've maintained a healthy lifestyle their entire life, right? That's me. Okay. I didn't start working out in my 40s, 50s. I didn't start then. I started at 6 years old in a pool doing synchronized swimming, and I never stopped. I never stopped being physically active my entire life. It is something that I loved and I always did it. Was I perfect at it? No, but I always moved my body in some capacity my entire life. Now, I know many people who have started a fitness journey in their 30s, in their 40s, in their 50s, in their 60s, in their 70s. You can start at any time. And once you start, if it hasn't been a habit for you, or you did it in your youth and then life happened and now you want to go back to it, the day you start is the day the reversing of the clock starts. Because beginning that day that you decide that you want to start making a change in your life and you want to start incorporating a healthier lifestyle, that's the day that you can start reversing the clock and having a significant change on your body, right? So, it's like I was saying, if you lose muscle mass, it just takes longer. It takes longer the older you are because your metabolism has slowed down. That's not saying it didn't happen to me, because it has happened to me. I have to work twice as hard, maybe 3 times as hard. And for me, it's even harder because I've done it my whole life. So there's no way of shocking my body. There's no way. Like, it's one thing if you haven't worked out and then all of a sudden you decide to work out, your body's like, whoa, what's going on? And if you're losing weight is something that you want to do, you're going to notice it within a couple months. You're going to notice that your body will react to that. Or if you start eating healthier, your body's going to react to that because you're no longer eating the foods that maybe weren't nutritious for you and now you're going to notice it. But when you've maintained that lifestyle your entire life, there's no shaking anything up. Your body's like, yeah, this is the way we've been rolling a long time. So it takes a lot more. It's a bigger challenge if you've been doing it your whole life. But it does slow down the processes with your cellular level, your skin, your elasticity, all of that. It does. That's why some people, I always say fitness is the fountain of youth, because it does slow down the aging process. I am proof of that. People think I am 20 years younger than I am, and it has nothing to do with, and I'm going to talk about this, it has nothing to do with appearance either. It has to do with your ability to move, your attitude, and your perception of life, how you look at things in life, because one of the key elements of aging backwards is fitness. And I just said that regular physical activity, like Zumba that I've done for many, many years, it has a crucial role in aging backwards. Exercise helps to improve your cardiovascular health, and you build and maintain muscle mass, which also helps you. You'll boost your overall energy level by exercising, and it's a fantastic way to reduce stress and enhance your mood, which are essential keys into your mental well-being. So physical activity is really, really key. And I am an advocate. You know this about me, because Zumba, because you're moving your body. So if you took a classic Zumba class, which is a dance class, okay, you're moving your body, you're jumping up and down if you want to, but you're moving, you're stomping, you're doing all the different steps of the dance moves. And, that is called rebounding. It actually shakes up your lymphatic system and it releases toxins throughout your entire body. So not only do I believe that you should sweat every day, or at least 4 times a week, you should get your cardio up high enough where you start to sweat, because sweating is actually releasing the toxins, but it's also working your lymphatic system, which is actually naturally clearing out the bad stuff in your system and getting it out in your digestive system, out of your pores. It is moving it, and you are helping your body move it by being physically active. If you're not physically active, your body's going to do it anyway, but it's like sludge. It's like a way slower process. Your body is struggling to do it, but it's the finest machinery out on the planet. God made us, and we are incredible the way that our anatomy is, but we can help it along. And if we want to talk about aging backwards and a youthful lifestyle, moving your body to the capacity of sweating is really important. And if you don't do that, or you are incapable of doing that, I recommend getting in a pool and swimming, because swimming, you get your cardio up there fast and you can maintain it up there. Now, you're not going to sweat because you're in a pool, but you are moving your heart rate and your blood in your system, and that cardiovascular is moving your system and your lymphatic system. So I'm not a medical doctor here, so please don't take this as medical advice, but I'm just saying that it has a key part and a key effect in aging backwards. So seriously consider physical activity. It's profound. It will have a profound effect on your body. And, I'm going to share, some tips with you, right? So, to inspire you, because I want you to know that aging backwards is more than what you see in the mirror, okay? Just because someone looks 20 years younger, there are ways that they could look that way. We all know about that, right? There's Botox, there are surgeries. People could do whatever they need to do to look younger on the outside. But on the inside, right, on your cellular level, what are you doing for your body on a cellular level, and mobility and flexibility? So stretching is really good for you. Yoga is really, really good for you. Doing that, stretching your body, because, we get stiffer as we get older. Your joints have been around for a while. They've been moving a while. And so you have to really do things to help aid them, right? You can aid in the way that you eat. You eat nutritional foods, and, you can take supplements if you want. You can drink greens if you're not a big person to eat a lot of greens, or they might upset your stomach. There are other ways that you can get the nutritional value into your system, and that, from a cellular level, it's going to come out in your appearance. It's going to come out in your skin, in the way that you glow, in your hair. It's going to show there. But it's also going to be, if you drop a spoon on the floor, you're going to be able to bend over and pick it up, or stoop down and pick it up and stand back up. And really, that's what you want to do. That is aging backwards. You don't want to be that older person who's like, can you get that for me? I can't bend over. Can you help me out of this chair? I can't get up. You don't want to be that person. You really don't have to be that person, is what I really mean. You don't have to let your body age to the point where, it's a challenge, and your muscles have atrophied, where, they just really aren't strong anymore because you haven't used them. You can use your muscles every day that you wake up, if you're physically able to. Even, I always say, walk. My mother, in her 80s, she used to walk inside the house and around the house, just to walk every day. She walked, and maybe that's where I got it from, because I do the same thing. I walk every day. But she used to, she couldn't go out, places, or didn't want to go outside. She would walk up and down the stairs in the house. She'd walk around the house. She'd go outside and walk the perimeter of the house. And she moved her body every day. And that's really as simple as it is that you want to, again, be physically active, eat healthier foods, and you want to, do some kind of mindfulness. What I mean by that is you want to either meditate or pray. You could say the rosary. If you're Catholic, you can, any form of meditation, quietness, appreciation. You can journal, where you take your mind out of actually doing, and you go into a state of calmness and peace and tranquility. And if you do that, try every day, but definitely, I'm going to say at least 4 times a week. But aging backwards becomes a practice where you do it every single day. And this is where you will relax your mind. You will come back to your breath. I have a walking meditation out there to help you. It's a podcast. I also have a blog about it. And just know that I have a blog for every podcast pretty much that I do, so that for people who like to read, there's more content there. For people who like to listen, I'm going to give you additional context here in the podcast. But, mindfulness, however you want to do that, there are apps out there that you can, do. And, that really helps you in your mind perspective, because it will help you feel happier and more jovial. And when you have a free, happy spirit, it's the sign of youth. I have found that with older people, I have found, my experience has been, they're either super happy or they're angry and bitter, right? And the happy ones, to me, they're very youthful in their spirit, because they're kid-like. They've seen a lot in life, and they're just like, oh, well, what, don't take it so seriously. And that is a youthful mindset and a youthful perspective, because as children, they're not worried about the future. They're not worried about anything. They're not worried about their next meal. They're not worried about anything but going outside and playing and swimming and yelling really loud outside and kicking balls and playing with toys and Play-Doh or sand or whatever, building sand castles, riding their bikes, playing with friends. They don't really, and that's yes, they don't have any responsibilities, but as you get older, we have to remember to be free and to be childlike at times so that you can recharge yourself and know that everything is working out for you. It's always working out for you. It is always working out for you. I'm going to say that again. Everything is always working out for you. So there's nothing to worry about. There really isn't. The more you focus on what's not working out for you, if you're in a situation where, Nancy, you don't know, I'm blah, blah, blah today. I'm like, no, I've been there. I've been there. I've been through a lot of stuff. And I'm here today because things worked out for me, right? So if you have the mindset of everything's working out for me, I don't know what it is. I don't know what that looks like. And I'm in a bad place right now, but I know everything's working out for me. And one day I'm going to talk about how everything worked out for me. And that's exactly what I did when I was in those spots, those very dark places. I think you can listen to my other podcasts where I had to look for that silver lining. And the silver lining was it's sunny today. I'm going with sunny. I'm grateful for the sunny day. I had days where the gratitude, that was it for me. And I always knew that everything's working out for me. And fast forward, everything worked out for me. I didn't know the plan. I didn't know how it was going to work out for me, but it did. So my point is, if you want to have that youthful mindset, it helps you age backwards because you are then an approachable person to other people. And I will say that I have a lot of younger people gravitate towards me because I have that youthful spirit and I am willing to share my wisdom with them to help them. And should they ask for it, right? If they seek my advice, I will give it to them. But they know that I'm just like living life and I'm happy to share what I've learned with them. And I wish them the best, right? And that is youthfulness, right? So youthfulness doesn't mean you're not going to have gray hair. If you want gray hair, have gray hair. It doesn't matter. You can have a white head of hair and you could be the spunkiest, most fun person out there. That makes you youthful. That makes you youthful. If you have wrinkles, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because your spirit is what attracts the energy. Your youthful, happy spirit is what makes you age backwards. It gives you the longevity because your mindset is not gloom and doom. Your mindset is a free spirit, a happy spirit, knowing everything is working out for me. Yeah, I'm in this body. I have gray hair, but I lived long enough to get the gray hair. I've lived long enough to get these wrinkles. I'm still here. I'm still waking up every day. So yeah, life is good. I'm here. I've learned a lot. I have a lot to share. And I bring value and good energy to the world. But most importantly, I'm taking care of myself. And when you take care of yourself, you exude that. People feel it in your presence. They know, oh, have you ever seen like an older person walks in a room and they're confident and they're happy and they're approachable and they are just an energy that you cannot miss them. You cannot miss them. They're in the room and you're like, dang, I want some of that. And here you are 30 years younger and you're like, it's just because she's whatever. She had that job all her life or we make up stories, don't we? We make up stories about people and it could be the furthest from the truth, right? But it's our mind trying to justify why we're pissed off at this person who's coming in the room, who's all happy, instead of saying, dang, I'm going to go talk to this person because I want some of what they got. That's how you should approach it because that person walking in the room has already, they got the secret sauce, right? They've got it and they're going to share it with you. Or you can study them while you're there and you're like, oh, their attitude was this, or they said they work out. I would have never thought that that person worked out, but they're telling you that they do. I'm going to go back to me for a second, because if you were to see me, and I've mentioned this in other podcasts too, I could take a cycle bar class. I could be the oldest person in that class, and I make the top 10 of 40 on the board, right? But if you were to line me up in front of everybody in the room, I would not be your top 10 choice, right? That's what I'm trying to say, that your physical appearance means nothing, right? Because it's your ability to do it, and then it's your attitude about it. I could go in a pool and I can swim 50 laps, and I'm trying to get to 66, which is 1 mile, but 50 laps in like 6 tries, right? I went to the pool 6 times. I'm already up to 50 laps. Would you think that of me if you saw me? Maybe not, right? So it doesn't matter what you look like. Excuse me. It's your ability to perform those, physical movements. It's your ability to move your body, and your body's ability to come through and do it for you. That, because I know for myself, when I swim in the pool and I'm able to swim that many laps, I always say, dang, this body of mine can really kick some butt out here. I'm impressed with myself, I have to say. Now, body, you've impressed me, and what is that? Where does that come from? It comes from years of conditioning it, years of, eating a Mediterranean diet, which is from Italy, which is how I was raised, right? Most of the time, I'm not perfect, but, it comes from that. And, I sustained that my whole life, but you can start today. And in the future, you're doing this for your future self, and your future self will thank you, because in the future, if you're in that pool and you're swimming those laps, you're like, 5 years ago, I didn't even think I could do it. And look at me now, or 5 years ago, I didn't even think I could, ride the bike or walk 3 miles or whatever it is. So, you set your goal and you go out there and do it, and your body will not disappoint you. And if you have little aches and pains, you can work through them. Again, I'm not a medical doctor. Please don't take any of this as medical advice. Seek advice from your medical person. But, I'm just sharing what I have learned myself, the times that I've injured myself and I've pushed myself to keep moving because I'm used to moving. I feel better afterwards. I can't say that I've ever made it worse by moving, whether it's walking or swimming in the pool, riding the bike, getting on the elliptical, when I've been injured. I know when to rest, and I know when to try to exercise to keep things limber. So, again, you want to eat healthy. I'm a big advocate of Arbonne, and if you check them out, I have a link on my blog post. If you follow that, you can find it in my blog, where I have links to Arbonne products. Their products are clean. They've been around since 1978, I believe, and they have all kinds of certifications and awards for, the processes that they use. They're non-GMO, they don't use animal testing, etc. And none of their products, upset my stomach. And so I take their products because it doesn't upset my stomach. It's helping me from a cellular level. And so therefore I appear physically, healthier and glowing, because I do that. I eat right, and I go and take care of myself, where I will go and get facials, or I'll go get a body massage, or I do something, sit in a sauna, do something for yourself in that way as well, right? So you want to move your body, you want to eat well, you want to have a happy, youthful attitude, and you want to take care of your wellness, right? So you want to take that. Even, I'm not saying you have to spend money. You can do it in your own home. Soak in a tub with Epsom salt, light some candles. I'm also a big fan of castor oil. Castor oil is very inexpensive. I also have that on my blog. You can link it. I have an Amazon storefront page, and you can go there. It's Nancy B Inspired, and I have products there that I use, and it's organic. It's 100% certified, and it's castor oil. It's less than $20, and it really helps you with your joints. It helps with your skin. It really does. It's made a difference in my hands. I'll put it on my hands. Everything is softer. And, these are the little things that I do on a regular basis to just help my skin feel nourished, right? But then while I'm doing that, the end result is it looks better, right? It looks more glowing. I have people that comment on that to me, and I'm like, they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't know. I use castor oil. I use Arbonne products. I work out every day. I do, I tell them, just like I'm telling you right now, I'm telling you, I am giving you many, many decades of my work, and I'm giving it to you in this whatever minute, 30-minute, 40-minute podcast. I've summed it all up for you, and I'm handing it to you so that, I have people, I'm not kidding you, that just stop me. And they're like, what are you doing? And I'm like, this is what I do. But I think the first thing that they see about me is the youthful energy, right? Because, I exude that. And that's not to say, life can't be challenging for me at times, right? Because I work full time. A lot of people my age are retired. I still work full time, and I work a very, 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 can I say very one more time? Extremely stressful job. Extremely. And whatever they pay me, it's not enough. It's just not enough because it's beyond. And how long can you take that, right? That amount of stress, which is one of the things I talked about earlier, right, is you have to reduce your stress. So how long can you put yourself in an environment with that level of stress where it's not going to take a toll on you, right? It will. It's inevitable, but you have to counter that. You have to counter it. And that's why I am diligent about countering it. I make jokes sometimes of the stress, like this would be a great Seinfeld show. And I have to tell you, I seriously am going to start writing down, because Michael Scott in The Office, he's got nothing on what we put up with. We laugh at my job on the things that happen and how we could really just write a sitcom. And one of these days, who knows? But, like I said, you got to counter the stress. And these are the things that get me through it, right? Like, okay, I think about, I got to put a spin on this, because you can't make this stuff up. You cannot. I have some sayings where I'm like, you can't make this up. The truth never changes. And, it's just, you can't unsee things. You can't unsee things. You can't unhear them. The truth always repeats itself, right? And it's just comical, it's like, you can't make this stuff up. It's just, nobody would believe you if you said it, if you tried to make it up. You just could not. It's just unbelievable. So, what do you do? What do you do? I'm referring, to that with a 9 to 5, but what about your day job? What about your neighbors? What about your relationship? If you have any of those stresses, and we all do, what are you doing to counter it? What are you doing? You got to release it. You've got to release it. You have got to release it. I'm going to repeat that, because you cannot hold it in. It will, if you fester and you hold it in, it will manifest itself into something negative in your body. That's just the way energy is. Energy moves in and moves out. You attract it's a magnetic field, and you're attracting more of what it is that you want in your life. So you have to release the negativeness of it to balance that out and bring happiness to yourself, right? And that's what I do. Despite the stress, I have good interactions with a lot of people, and that balances everything out, because the nature of what I do is going to be stressful. But it's kind of like like a fireman, or you think of a surgeon who's doing heart surgery. There's stress there, but it's got to be done. You got to do it, right? It's similar to that, right? But then you counteract it with, good relationships, good friendships. You laugh about things. You just write it off as it is. It is what it is. There's nothing you can do about it. You can't change things that you can't change, and change the things you can change, and just have that positive attitude. Take care of yourself. You only have, at the end of the day, you only have one body, the body you came in. And that body, has gotten you through stages of life, so when you're young and then you go through adolescence, and then you live your life. Well, then as you age, it's the reverse of adolescence, right? Your body then will stop making hormones. It'll start doing other things that you have zero control over. Zero. Just like adolescence. You had no control over what your body was turning into then. And now as you age, you have no control over what your body is doing. So now you're older and you've lived decades in this body post adolescence. And now you're like, okay, now what do I do? I will tell you that you have to take matters into your own hands. I have another podcast out there about your wellness and physicians, but you have to really be an advocate of yourself, listen to your body, understand your body, and do things that work well for you. The number one thing that happens when you get older is your sleep starts to get disrupted. For me, my sleep wasn't disrupted since I had infants, right? And then, you're okay until that, you have a family and kids are sick in the middle of the night, and you go through that, but then you have a long time where you're sleeping soundly, and then all of a sudden, wait a minute, why am I up at 2 a.m? Why am I up at why am I waking up weird hours of the night when I used to sleep soundly? That's kind of like the beginning of changes in your body. For females, I will say, I can't speak to males, but it's the beginning of the change. And you have to just keep educating yourself about it. Don't discard it as it's nothing. And doctors will say, you will go to the doctor, you'll get your labs done, and they'll say you're totally fine. I had that done to me. I cannot tell you how many times, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not fine, something's going on here, right? So for me, I found out that, the more I exercised, it helped me sleep better, and, you really, I don't even know how to say this. You have to ride it out. You really have to ride out the roller coaster that it can be, but you just really have to maintain it the best that you can. I sought out I think I mentioned this too in another podcast. I sought out a, compounding pharmacist. I went and spoke to him. He had free seminars on, hormones and changes, and he had supplements over the counter that you could take. And, he had a lot of options for people. And I got really educated by him. There's herbal teas you can drink, and those all take the edge off the process, because you are changing. Your body is changing, and you have to take that in as it's just part of the journey. And, you have to look at it don't look in the mirror and say, oh, I'm getting old. You have to look in the mirror that you earned the gray, you earned the wrinkles, you earned the body that changed. And you are not the body, you are not the wrinkles, you are not the gray. You are the spirit that lives in that body that people love. And you need to exude that in your life and, be proud of who you are, even though the external might be changing a little bit. But you know what? You got to like who you see in the mirror. You really have to like that person. And once you like that person, then you can like everybody else around you. But if you don't like that person in the mirror, then there's your trouble right there. You're never going to get happy unless you make peace with the person in the mirror. So start there. That's your homework. Start there. If you're not there, start there. And if you are there, kudos, because that's the key. That's the essential key. So I guess I'm going to wrap this up for you. I hope that I, have helped you, understand that aging backwards and living a youthful lifestyle, you can defy and all the things that go with the external, right? It is not about the external. It is not about looking younger means you're younger and you've defied it. Being thin as an older person doesn't mean you defied it. That has nothing to do with it. Everything to do with it is your mind, body, and soul. That has everything to do with it. And when I talk about body in that context, I'm talking about moving your body, being physically active and physically able to stretch and be mobile and have flexibility, right? And have a great cardiovascular system. I remember years ago, I would go to the doctor for whatever, an annual exam or whatever, and they'd take my blood pressure. And at the time, we're really hard on ourselves when we're younger. We really are. I don't know why, but I remember like not being happy with whatever, like, I work out so much, I should be blah, 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 and they would say, but your blood pressure is phenomenal and your heart rate is so low. I'm like, yeah, nobody can see that. Well, look at me now. Look at me now. It paid off. So it does matter. Your low heart rate, your low blood pressure does matter. It matters most. So let that, sink in. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. Right? Your financial health is important too. I'm just going to touch on this before I close. Just make sure that, you've got your ducks in a row. A lot of times I will say people that get older, you had changes in your, financial health, right? It could be job loss. It could be devastating loss, a spouse, a divorce, foreclosure. It could be a lot of different things in your life that could take that nest egg that you thought you had, right? Because everybody's like, I got it. I'm planning for this and I've got it all. And then everything, hits the fan and you're like, oh my gosh, now what am I going to do? You can always rebuild your life. Always. I don't care how old you are. You can always wipe the slate clean and start over again. And don't think you can't. You can. You most certainly can. And you just have to rebuild. And like I said, you have to say everything's working out for me, and one step at a time, and just be responsible and just keep moving forward, one step in front of the other. The right job might come into your life. You just never know. You might have an opportunity to partner with someone. You just never know. You just keep being responsible and moving forward and see where the journey leads you. But mindset is key here. So your financial health is important. And, also the last thing I'm going to touch on, I had said that before, but when I talked about nutrition, when you get older, anti-inflammatory diets and food is really key. And I'm getting ready to post a blog this week. So this is the end of June. Today is June 29th. And I'm getting ready to post a blog the first week of July. And it's on anti-inflammatory, diet and food and how we should, treat ourselves when we're older. It's, again, aging backwards. But, again, it's the eating the healthy foods, right? The greens and the, fresh fruit and, things that you don't want to eat processed or anything that it will cause inflammation. So there's more about that in that next blog. But, just consider that. And again, if you're eating healthy, or you're taking products like I use Arbonne, their pea protein and, greens and, they have bio sticks that are really good for your gut. All of those things help with anti-inflammatory. But the other thing that I always say is if your food can rot, that is what you want to eat. You want to eat something that is going to go bad. And also organic. You want it to be organic first, and then you want to know. So any fresh food that you buy, produce, buy local. This time of year, it's summertime, buy local. Your local is your number one best resource because your local produce was grown in the soil that is native to where you live. And that soil has nutrients and allergens in it that your body will become accustomed to and help you overall. So definitely buy local, buy fresh, and buy organic. And I think that if you do that, you start moving your body, you take care of yourself, mind, body, soul, you will age beautifully backwards with me because, we're here, right? So we got to have that youthful attitude. And we want to be spunky and be who you are. And the last thing I will say is do not care one bit about what other people think of you. And I seriously mean that. You be true to yourself. Again, I'm going to go back to make peace with the person in the mirror, like who you see in the mirror, and know that you're living in your authenticity and you are a good human. And therefore, if people don't like you, it's their issue. It's not yours. You just keep being you. And that's all that you can do, right? We always move forward with love. We treat people with love. And then, we just keep going forward, because at the end of the day, you want to be able to know that when you sleep at night, that you haven't done anything. You've done the best that you can. And if other people, fall off your radar, well, they fell off your radar. That's their loss, not yours. You just keep moving forward, because everything is working out for you. So I hope you enjoyed this podcast. Share it with your friends. Like it. Check out my blog. Check out my Amazon storefront. And everything I have out there, it's all free. It's all free, and I'm just giving it to you to help you live your best life. So until the next podcast, let this inspire you today.